Pahrum's most watched and #1 media source for local news and weather with Deanna O'Donnell.
Welcome to News 46, your local news station. I'm Deanna O'Donnell. This is your Week in Review. Nye County Sheriff's deputies deployed tasers on a suspect last weekend who they say was reaching for a gun. Nye County Sheriff's Office has issued an official press release regarding Saturday morning's tasing incident regarding two suspects, Samuel L. Jones, age 59, and Earl P. Jones, age 37. On May 5th at approximately 10 o'clock in the morning, Nye County Sheriff's Office deputies were dispatched to 3750 South National for a report of a domestic battery. While on scene, suspects 1 and 2 immediately became confrontational and refused to comply with demands given by deputies. Both suspects refused to comply with officer commands, turned around, and attempted to flee inside their residence. Once inside their residence, both suspects refused to allow deputies inside to conduct their investigation. Once inside, Suspect 2 was detained for officer safety. After the son of Suspect 2 was detained for officer safety, Suspect 1 became more aggressive. Suspect 1 continued to yell that officers did not have legal presence to be at the residence. Suspect 1 began to remove a loaded .45 caliber handgun, which was holstered on his right hip from the holster as if he was about to draw it. Deputies further gave commands which were completely ignored. Deputies on scene deployed a taser and took control of the suspect. The suspect was placed into handcuffs and continued to attempt to resist and cooperate while walking to the patrol unit. Two suspects were arrested, Samuel L. Jones, age 59, and Earl P. Jones, age 37, being held on $12,274 bail and $3,774 bail. Being held for the following charges: assault with a deadly weapon on a peace officer, resisting a public officer, obstructing a public officer, intimidating a public officer, domestic battery, obstructing a public officer, resisting a public officer. The victim in this case, Darla Fernandez, age 47. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. A two-vehicle accident this past week resulted in one person being transported to Desert View Hospital. A two-vehicle accident here on Elderberry and Homestead this afternoon. There was 2 injuries reported. Nye County Sheriff's deputies arrived on scene along with Nye County Sheriff's Auxiliary. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue transported only one of those injured. One man was suffering a cut to his wrist. The other woman happens to be Kay Broadhead. She is the great-grandmother of the 3 children who tragically lost their lives in the structure fire on Prospector in April. Kay was transported to Desert View Hospital with minor injuries. Nye County Sheriff's deputies are investigating the cause of this accident, which appears to be the one vehicle with the male driver running the stop sign here at Elderberry, running right into Mrs. Broadhead. And once again, Nye County Sheriff's deputies blocked both lanes of traffic while they were conducting the investigation. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue transported only one locally. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. Another two-vehicle accident on Highway 160 also resulted in one woman being transported. This afternoon, approximately 2:30, a two-vehicle accident here on Highway 160 in Wellston prompted Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue, Nye County Sheriff's deputies, and Nevada Highway Patrol to the scene of an extremely minor accident. Although this could have been worse and it appears to be a T-bone collision, the cars barely touched each other. The woman inside the convertible, however, did say that she was experiencing some injuries. She was transported locally here to Desert View Hospital. Nevada Highway Patrol is investigating the cause of this accident. This is Deanna O'Donnell on Highway 160 and Wilson for News 46. A lucky driver of this single vehicle accident resulted in no injury. Nye County Sheriff's deputies and Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue arrived at a single vehicle accident last night around 9 p.m. on Malibu and Dandelion. Somehow, the female and only occupant driver of this vehicle ran the stop sign and ended up in this field right behind some homes. Nye County Sheriff's deputies called a tow truck to remove the vehicle from the empty lot. Pahrump Valley Fire and Rescue checked out the occupant on scene and found no injuries were sustained during this accident. Deputies reported that drugs or alcohol did not play a part in this accident. The woman had just simply rammed the stop sign. Nye County Sheriff's Department is investigating this accident. This is Deanna O'Donnell on Malibu and Dandelion for News 46. Stay tuned for more local news with your Week in Review. Keep it here.
Pahrum's most watched and #1 media source for local news and weather with Deanna O'Donnell.
Governor Sandoval spoke to us during his visit to Pahrump last weekend. The Nye County Republican Central Committee hosted a picnic that many attended, including some protesters. We speak to the governor.
It's a privilege and honor to serve as governor, and it's great to be out here in Pahrump in Nye County. I got a lot of support out here during the campaign, and the people here are wonderful, so it's a great honor to be here again.
I know you got a lot of support here with the Nye County Central Committee. They said you made a promise at the Fall Festival Parade you'd be back, and
Yes.
they were looking forward to this.
Yes, no, and it was great to participate last year, and I look forward to doing it again. And as I said, I'm so proud of this community and what it stands for, and the wonderful people and the wonderful Nevadans that are here.
How's it going so far?
It's going well, and as I mentioned to the group when I was talking, it's a privilege and honor to serve as the governor. There are a lot of big issues in Carson City. The budget is obviously a subject of debate, and I'm very proud of the fact that our economy we're starting to recover. I was able to add back approximately $270 million that I've put towards public education. That's a big priority for me. I think our economy is starting to pick up, and that's why I've been very firm that I don't think it's a good idea to raise taxes at this time when Nevadans are struggling. Nevada is a business-friendly state, and this is the place that you want to be. As you know, there's a debate in Carson City right now. There's been a tax package that's been introduced that would be the single largest tax increase in the history of the state of Nevada. I'm opposed to that. I think that's the worst thing that we could do when we're trying to build our economy, when our economy is getting back off its feet.
And we got some protesters out there, and they kind of got together about the budget cuts.
No, and as I mentioned to the group, I respect everyone's opinions. That this is an important issue, and I think that's one of the reasons why when we got this additional money, because the economy is starting to improve, that I put it towards public education. But I appreciate the debate. I think it's important that I'm also talking about reforming the education system in the state of Nevada. Unfortunately, we're last in the country in graduation rates, so I think there's some important things that we can accomplish in stopping social promotion. In other words, every child should be able to read by the time they hit third grade, that we need merit pay for teachers to reward the great teachers, reward the great principals. I think that we should have choice in education. That's extremely important to me as well. I think that we should stop the policy of laying off the newest teachers, because some of those are the best teachers. So those are some of the issues that I'm attacking, and I think can really raise the bar in the state of Nevada.
That the economy is right now. Do you have a lot on your plate as far as taking on this position now?
No, well, I mean, economic diversification and our economy and jobs are my number 1 issue. I think it's important to bring new business to the state of Nevada. It's also just as important to be very supportive of the business that is already here. And I go back to the fact that businesses are struggling. I've toured over 100 businesses, and you see the empty carols, you see the empty offices, and they're struggling. I think it would be a very bad idea to add some type of a business tax on them, a gross profits tax like that's being proposed in the legislature.
At the Nye County Republican Central Committee luncheon, Governor Brian Sandoval made an announcement regarding the replacement of Senator John Ensign and spoke to us about the future in regards to the economy and renewable energy here in Nevada.
Another thing that I'm proud to state is I sent the paperwork to Washington, D.C. last week. I believe as of Tuesday, Dean Heller will be your next United States Senator.
We all love Dean.
Well, I was very pleased to be invited to the opening of the facility out in Boulder City, and that's one of the largest photovoltaic solar fields in the world. And I just spoke with a gentleman who's here today who's going to be a manufacturer of solar panels. So yes, that's an important part of the future, but we need to, I'm going to focus on technology as well, but renewable energy, solar energy, geothermal energy are important as well.
What's some of the things that you really focus on as far as the rural places like Pahrump here?
Well, education's important. The economy is extremely important. I think those two things. But, again, I don't think there are struggling families out here, and I think it's very important that we not tax them. I know Pahrump is working very hard on economic diversification and bringing new business here, and we want to have a very strong and balanced business environment so businesses want to continue to come here.
I know that former First Lady Dawn Gibbons is here, and she was talking about you putting money towards autism.
Yes. No, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for Dawn Gibbons, the former First Lady. She's somebody that I've worked with. As part of, our economy is improving, and I was able to completely and fully fund the autism programs in the state of Nevada. I know that's something that's extremely important to her. My goal is to be the hardest working governor in the United States of America. I'm so proud of the state of Nevada. I'm so proud to work for all of you. Yesterday, I've been supportive of the veterans, supportive of law enforcement. God bless all of you. God bless our great state, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
The former First Lady of Nevada attended the Picnic with Your Governor luncheon at the Pahrump Winery. We spoke to Dawn Gibbons.
I'm doing great. It's great to be here in Pahrump, especially at this beautiful location, and great to see the governor.
Why did you decide to come out?
It's to support Pahrump, but also to support our governor. And I think he's doing great things, and he fully funded our autism program. And I was down at the legislature lobbying for these families, and he kind of put me out of work for doing that, but obviously I have a lot to do at NBC.
I know that you're really for getting some funding for the autism, and that's one of your major things that you're going for. Tell about that.
Well, we're excited because the governor did find some extra money on the ad backs, and so now we're going to be able to help those, not only the 174 that we've been helping, but the 300 and more that are on the waiting list. So we're very thrilled about that because, now it's 1 in 110 are diagnosed autistic, and that's not a crisis, it's a catastrophe.
It really is. How can people get more involved and donate to this cause?
Well, we have a website, Autism Coalition of Nevada. It's called acon.org, and I do hope people will participate. Obviously, they can get hold of me at KSNV News 3, and I will get them involved in any kind of project they want.
How's it going working for NBC?
Oh, I love it. They're so good to me, and they're really involved in the community and do a lot to make a difference in people's lives. And it's just like you. A lot of people look at the media as the fourth branch of government because we're the voice of the people.
And on behalf of a mom who has a kid with autism, thank you so much for championing.
Thank you, and I hope that you're going to get the resources you need now because it has been a very big challenge. And let me tell you, we had a lot of sleepless nights working for that money, but Governor Brian Sandoval kept his promise and came through.
Thanks.
The Nye County Clerk, Sandra Merlino, informs us regarding the details of the open election coming in September.
An open election is scheduled for September to fill Dean Heller's congressional seat. Nevada's 25th senator took the oath of Senate yesterday around 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time in a ceremony on the Senate floor conducted by Vice President Joe Biden. Senator Heller is filling the seat of former Senator John Ensign, who resigned amid an ongoing ethics investigation into his conduct. His departure came as the Senate Ethics Committee is conducting an ongoing investigation into his handling of an affair with a former political aide whose husband was also a top legislative aide to the senator. Removed from the Senate Ethics Committee has no jurisdiction in the matter and likely will keep private the results of its 20-month investigation. Nye County Clerk Sandra Merlino gives us details on the specifics regarding the election and some redistricting that is underway.
Right. The statutes allow for a special election to fill this congressional seat. So the governor has declared that the election will be held on September 13th, and it does not provide for a primary election. So basically it's going to be an open election. Anyone can run for that position from a major political party, or any minor party can do a petition process to get on the ballot as well. So basically it'll be an open election for everyone. We will have early voting, just like a regular election, and I have just secured the Nugget as a major polling place for Pahrump for this special election since we've lost the Bob Roode Community Center plus Mance Elementary.
Yeah, that's a big change, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I think it'll be great. We don't expect a large turnout. I think the people will like it. It'll be easy in, easy out. It'll be a short ballot. I think it'll work out great.
And tell me about some of the redistricting that we're talking about right now.
Well, I don't know if anybody's been watching the redistricting that's taken place in the state, but they did adopt some plans today from what I saw. It hasn't passed through both houses, I don't believe, but it does put Nye County in 2 separate congressional districts, 2 separate senatorial districts, and 2 separate assembly districts. But that doesn't really affect our local redistricting. I don't have all of the information yet to look at what we have to do in Nye County. So that's something that will be forthcoming here, hopefully before too long.
Will that affect this election at all?
No. As a matter of fact, we will not redistrict before this election because the precincts are set. We've actually got to get rolling on this election right away, and I can't change any precincts in between that time period.
And then as far as this election is concerned, how do people prepare for this? Is there some websites or information where they can get a little bit more information about where they need to poll or what's going on with it?
Well, the Secretary of State's office already has a website that has an election calendar and everything else on it. And because these individuals will all be filing with the state, I won't have that information right away. But the Secretary of State's website will have everything. And I believe the filing takes place starting next week.
And for further information, they can just go to the Secretary of State's website and you'll keep us updated of any changes.
Yes, exactly. And we'll be sending out sample ballots, absentee ballots, the whole thing. We'll be putting notices in the paper, so it'll be the same as a regular election other than we're skipping a primary.
This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.
The Ian Deutsch Golf Tournament to benefit the Prompt Disability Outreach Program was held this past weekend. The event happened just a couple days after the deputy's name was placed on the wall at the state capitol. This Sunday, the fallen officer's name will be placed on the wall in Washington, D.C. We spoke to Ian's best friend and fellow officer with the Nye County Sheriff's Department, Eric Murphy.
Everybody's checked in. They just started teeing off, and it looks like it's going good.
So tell me, how many entrants did we have?
Looks like we ended up with 72, almost 80 people.
Wonderful. And this is all the benefit Prompt Disability Outreach Program?
That's correct. All the proceeds will go to Prompt Disability Outreach Program, which is a program that was set up by Paula Cooper and David Barukowitz for children that need assistance here in Pahrump.
And we have people sponsoring holes, don't we?
Yes, we have several businesses that came forward and sponsored holes. Saida Trudeau gave $30,000 toward a car. The car's sitting out there on the golf course, so it's a really good cause, and a lot of people stepped forward.
Wonderful. That is such a great thing. How did they win the car?
What they have to do is they have to tee off from the tee box and land a hole in one shot. If they land a hole in one shot, then they get $30,000 toward a car.
And then they're going to have a buffet a little bit later?
Yes, we're going to have a buffet, and several businesses donated raffles and raffle prizes, so we'll be raffling off some good prizes and stuff too.
Wonderful. And how can people donate all year long to Prompt Disability Outreach?
So all they have to do is go on their website, which is www.pdop.com, I believe.
And we're going to be doing this next year?
Yes, my goal is to organize it and have it go every year in Ian's memory.
And a little bit more about Ian. How did it go at the state capitol?
It went good at the state capitol. They, I don't know how you'd put it, fortunately or unfortunately, they only had 2 officers that were killed in the state of Nevada in 2010. One was the marshal that was in Vegas at the federal building, and then Ian. And it went really good. It was a great honor for his memory, and his family was there, and the name looks really good on the wall.
It does. And then I know that we're going to be going up to D.C.?
Yes, Washington, D.C. is going to do their national memorial that they do every year. Basically, it'll start off on the 13th of May. They'll do the candlelight visual, and then Sunday the 15th is when they do the actual ceremony unveiling the name and on the wall.
You're going to be going to that as well?
That's correct. Yes.
Thank you so much for letting us know, and hopefully we'll get some pictures back from you.
Thank you.
Town board member Dr. Tom Waters went on a field trip with KPVM last week. We wanted to find out just how far the proposed Last Chance Park trailhead is from the human remains of what has been determined to be an American Indian burial site.
Well, Last Chance Park, we were supposed to pick one of three locations or one of three options. There were two locations, and one was discontinue the park completely. And we chose to go ahead and continue the park and also challenge BLM on some issues so we can go ahead and try and get things moving along.
So tell me, what's the option that we're looking at right now?
The option is at Bella Vista and Banovich. It's a 10-acre plot right there. And one of the big, I guess, holdups was the fact that they found some bones out there. And many people were saying the bones were found right on the spot where we want to put the park. Well, finding out that that's not true, I feel very good about going on with the park.
I know we went out there yesterday and looked at the area and kind of surveyed where they were actually found and where you're looking at the park. Tell everybody what this park really is.
The park is going to be a natural park, and it's right on the area of Bella Vista and Banovich, and it'll be a natural park. It'll be something that the people heading out to Death Valley can stop in. The regular citizens here in Pahrump can also go out there and enjoy it. It'll be a natural park. It's not going to be built up, and it's not going to have running water or anything like that. It'll be something nature and natural, because we want to go ahead and maintain as much as the heritage for the Native Americans that are in the area.
And it's kind of like a trailhead, just like an entrance.
That's correct. People will be able to park there, and if they want to go up and look at the mountain, they can, but we don't expect a whole lot of that. We really expect them to be able just to view the mountain. And again, it's going to be something that's going to protect the Native American land, because once it's a park, then the town of Pahrump can protect that area. But it is coming up again because it's something that we have to do. Again, we voted on it last town board meeting, and it's going to come up again because there's still some people who say they don't want to park there, but all the residents in the area want to park there, and that's a good thing. And they did the study correctly. They did workshops, they did all the proper procedures to handle this and create a park atmosphere. So I think it's a good thing for Pahrump, and it's a good thing for the area.
Wonderful. And for more information, if people want to contact you?
Oh, they can contact me at my Pahrump cell phone. It's 775-764-0949, or they can send me an email at twaters@PahrumpNV.org, which is my town email address.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thank you.
And as it turns out, the American Indian remains are about 1.5 miles away from the proposed site. A new warden has been named at Correction Corporations of America's detention center here in Pahrump. Corrections Corporations of America has named Roddy Rushing as the new warden at its Nevada Southern Detention Center here in Pahrump. He will oversee operations at one of the company's newest facilities, leading a staff of more than 200 employees. Rushing's career with CCA began in 1997 as a correctional officer at Southern Nevada Women's Correctional Facility. During his tenure there and at the Correctional Treatment Facility in Washington, D.C., and at California City Correctional Center, his career path led him from corrections officer to senior correction officer, assistant shift supervisor, disciplinary hearing officer, chief of security, and assistant warden. In 2004, Rushing was named assistant warden at California City Corrections Facility. Prior to joining CCA, Rushing spent 6 years in the United States Air Force and 11 years in security management in Las Vegas, Nevada. The CCA Nevada Southern Detention Center is a 1,072-bed detention center housing federal detainees for the U.S. Marshals Service. This is Deanna O'Donnell for News 46. We have scheduled an interview with Mr. Rushing to introduce him to you. He is expected to arrive in town in the coming weeks. Keep it here to find out all of the top news from this past week with your Weekend Review.
Pahrump's most watched and #1 media source for local news and weather with Deanna O'Donnell.
At the Pahrump Town Board meeting last week, the board met to decide the fate of town manager Bill Kohlbarger, and his contract has been extended for 1 more year.
And I feel confident to step up and make a motion now. And with that, I would like to make a motion to offer Mr. William A. Kohlbarger a 1-year contract, as is in the backup, but I would like to make some changes to that to that contract. It says this agreement can be renewed for a subsequent one-year period if employer gives 4, I'd like to change that to 3 months' notice, and the employee is still willing and able to perform his duties as town manager. Then the employer shall pay the remaining salary due for 1 year of the contract. And what I'd like to interject after that would be, or 60 days, whatever is less. It also states that health insurance for the employee and all dependents as defined in Section 4 for the remainder of the contract term. I also, again, would like to add, or 60 days, whatever is less. In that part, it says, in the event the employee is terminated for cause, I would like to interject this. No notice is required, and no severance will be paid. Health insurance coverage will continue for 30 days. Any accrued annual leave will be paid within 30 days.
By law, it's got to be paid within 2 weeks, sir.
Okay, then we'll change it to that then. I didn't consider that we would terminate for cause. Again, having listened to people and addressing their current concerns, I would like to add a number 6. And number 6 would be pattern of behavior deemed inappropriate by the majority of the board.
For the one-year contract, I have no problem with what Mr. Culkin is saying.
I think a one-year contract is the right idea. I think you have a legislation process going on right now in Carson City with Mr. Kohlberger's contacts throughout the state. Now is not the time to bring in somebody who has no contacts. You guys as a board have to use your leadership to come together to find a good work performance standard and hold him accountable. So use this year to get through this legislative process to see if Mr. Kohlberger's cutting the mustard. If he's not, you got to do what you got to do.
Mr. Darby, I'd like to table this until we can have a workshop. I'd like to move that we table this until we have a workshop where we can sit down and look at the contract as it was talked about when we had an initial meeting with...
Mr. Darby, you have a motion on the floor, you've called the question. She's out of order.
I can move to table.
It's within the power of the board members to request him to withdraw his motion.
The table.
Is there a second to the motion to table? Hearing none, it dies. So we'll call for the vote. All those in favor of offering a one-year contract with the changes presented this evening, signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, nay. Motion carries 3-2. Point of order. Come on, knock it off.
Excuse me, sir, I'll wait for a second.
You got a rude person going out this door right now that's a butt.
They're sitting right there. Come on.
Hey.
All right, that's it. I'm taking a recess. I'm tired of this crap. We'll take 5 minutes.
I'm tired. I'm going. I'm sorry. I'm not going to take the finger from going. And he gave me the finger, and I don't think I deserve that.
Well, then I'm going to have to request that he doesn't come back.
And as we told you, the contract with Town Manager Bill Kohlberger has been renewed for 1 year with a few minor changes. We speak to Mr. Kohlberger to find out how the town board and him are getting along and his hopes for Pahrump in the future.
Yeah, the town board voted 3-2 the other night to give me a year contract.
So what was the original contract that you were hired on?
It's a 3-year contract.
And so was there any change in the agreement this time?
Yeah, there's a few changes, small changes in my mind.
Mm-hmm. So tell me a little bit about what's going on. What do you hope to do in the next year?
I'll bring business to Pahrump. That's one of our main goals, is to try and get jobs into Pahrump. We're jointly with the county and bringing economic development into Pahrump.
I know Nevada Highway Patrolman Scott Coble was talking about some of your connections that you have within the state that are super vital
Yeah, I've been in the state for 12 years now, and I've got a lot of connections, a really strong networking system throughout the state. Reaches all the way to Carson City, to the northeast part of Nevada, and all the way to the southeast part of Nevada.
I know that there was some heated arguments that were going on at the town board meeting. We saw some of that last night. What was that about?
Just citizens expressing their viewpoints on trying to win what they thought was a battle. My opinion on it, we're all adults. We need to stop acting like children, and I think Mr. Calkins said it best. We need to put the petty differences aside and work as a team. And
you guys are getting along better now, aren't you? Harley Calkin and you.
You know, I never did not get along with Mr. Calkin. A lot of people said stuff, and at times Harley and I didn't agree. That's life. And he was very vocal, and now he's on this side of the table. He sees that it's like, wow, it's not much different than when it was on that side of the table, but he's getting a lot more information. And he asked a question. It was funny the other day. He goes, how come we didn't get this information when I was on that side of the table? And I said, because you didn't ask, I guess. I don't know, but it was out there because it was all in the backup. The backup is what the town board goes on. And if they have questions on the town backup, then they come in and ask staff. If I don't have the answer, I send them to Michael Sullivan or Scott Lewis or Matt Lewis, one of the department heads, Terry Boswick.
So now that Harley Calkin is now part of the town board, before he is very opinionated on some of his views, but he sometimes misdirected. He's getting a lot more information. Do you think that some of the citizens that show up and read some of the backup are having a good understanding about what is allowed and not allowed and where funds can go to and not go to, or are they misguided sometimes?
I don't know about being misguided. The information is out there. We have always put it in the backup. And if you have a question, come to the town office, we'll answer it. And not only will we answer it, but we'll try and give you documentation to back it up. And Harley is still opinionated. And he's still the same person he was when he got elected. He's just channeling it a little better. Because he knows sitting up there, he has to be professional. And he is.
You do spend a lot of time at the town office answering the public's questions.
Yes, ma'am, I do. My office door is always open, and if I'm not in a meeting, I will be glad to bring the citizen in and sit down and talk to him.
How is your relationship going now with the rest of the town board?
To my knowledge, it's going pretty good. Mrs. Darby made a comment the other day on the email blogs that her husband didn't vote against me, he voted against the contract. And Mr. Darby didn't like the contract, but Mr. Darby and I will continue working well together.
And tell me, what are some of the things that you're hearing mostly from the public?
Congratulations. And I haven't gotten any negative. I've gotten nothing but positive, handshakes, hugs. Hey, let's do some stuff over the next 12 months. The chamber called today and said, let's get together. Let's really attack this issue that's out there. Let's take the chamber and the town to the next step. And I think it's great.
I hear that on the next town board agenda that there's some items that are going to be brought up about bringing a new business here in town.
It's not really a new business. It's a new venture for the town. It's the development of the 426 acre park project. And it'll be in the infant stage. And we're going to lay it out and we'll see what the town board says.
Nye County Tax Assessor Shirley Madsen and her attorney Nancy Lord speak to us about the legal papers that they have served certain entities regarding Ms. Madsen's reprimand by the Nye County Commissioners and alleged emails that were made public that they say have been altered.
Well, we've sent our 41336 letter to the Pahrump Valley Times. This is a letter that's required under Nevada law precatory to filing a defamation suit. You have 3 months to do it, and they have 30 days to retract the false statements. And we very specifically indicated the falsities in the latest series of reports in the Times about Ms. Madsen. First and most seriously was the email several days before she took office. This was a doctored email. I explained this to Mr. Harris sitting right at my kitchen table. Ms. Madsen remembers it very clearly. It was a forward. It had been a letter sent out in a colloquy with Frank Smith about Nevada elections. It was a long list of people, including me. And 6 of those people have looked for it and can't find it. It's a very simple thing to forward an email and change what's in it. All you said to Frank was, it was very short, something like, what is this about, or something. What did you say to Frank in that?
Well, I can't really remember
It was
because it was
very quick.
The only thing that I remember is Donna said it had something to do with when Jan Brewer was doing something in Arizona, and with her immigration bill that she signed. Well, she signed that in April of 2010, so it was sometime before that.
Immigration. It has something to do with Nevada fraud.
Oh, maybe.
And it's Nevada voter fraud, and you said something to Frank about this is silly.
This is BS.
Yeah,
or something.
yeah, something like that, a one-liner, and it went to the whole CCSC list, and they went and forwarded and stuck this other content into it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, interestingly enough, while the PVT is saying we had no proof it was doctored, the county commissioners didn't mention that email on March 25th when they brought Ms. Mattson in for the hearing. They didn't mention that one. Only the perfectly legitimate email that was sent to only fellow county employees, Sheriff DeMayo and Rick Osborne, asking if anyone had checked the immigration status of the workers on the jail site. That's all. Not only was it her right to send that email, it was her duty. She is protected by the whistleblower statute and several other statutes. But if you get suspicious of something, a crime being broken, a crime being in progress, as a county official, the assessor had the right to, the obligation to say something. She wasn't asking the sheriff to violate their Fourth Amendment rights by walking up to them and saying, show me your papers. All the assessor wanted was for someone to call the contractor and say, are these guys legal?
To see an extended version of this interview, you can go to our website at kpvm.tv. More local news and your weekend review when we come back from this break.
Pahrum's most watched and #1 media source for local news and weather with Deanna O'Donnell.
Welcome back. NASCAR driver Taylor Barton gave the dirt track a try at Pahrump Valley Speedway this past weekend. He drove cars in 2 classes. Taylor speaks to us about this experience and the Taylor Barton Foundation to end bullying.
Good, man. Another day in paradise, living the dream.
So tell me, you're out there racing the 44H.
Yeah, this is my first time in the dirt, so I came down here for a public appearance 2 weeks ago and came out and signed some autographs, and Terry and Mike were kind enough. They own a Done It Right auto service out here. Were nice enough to put me in the car, and then when I got here, the new U.S. Legends on dirt, the kid didn't show up, so they're sticking me in 2 classes. So first time
you're going to be racing the U.S. Legends. What do you normally drive?
I drive on the asphalt. So last year we did the K&N Pro Series West, which is the Western region, and it's all asphalt. So this is my first time on dirt. It was a little tricky out there, but
it's a little wet track tonight too, as well.
That wall comes up you pretty fast. I was heading straight towards it a few times. I was like, am I gonna pee my pants here or not? You know. So
this is a little bit different than the models that you're driving. I think it's super late
models, and then the West cars, which are old Nationwide cars. And we're working on sponsorship to get in the truck series too. So yeah, we got a lot of things going on. We had fulltiltpoker.net last year, and some things happened with the online gaming, but you know, we got some things in the works, and we're real excited.
So I know that one of the things that I researched about you is your anti-bullying program that you have, and tell me about that.
Yes, I was bullied when I was younger, so you know, I wanted to start my foundation before I got really big, because this is really who I am. You know, I don't want to get big and then start my foundation. This is who I am. I want people to know that, you know, I'm out there for the community. And so we're raising money to bring Challenge Day to schools. And what they do is help stop the separation in schools and show the kids that they're all in this together. And so we're really excited about that, because it brings what we call Be the Change teams in the different communities. And when we start racing and going to each city, we're hoping to bring the change days to schools and communities and start getting people to work together. That's what life is all about. It's all about relationships.
It's a wonderful thing. I know you have a lot of kids that are really fans of yours, and they're out there tonight watching. Tell everybody how they can keep track of you and your career.
They can go on TaylorBartonRacing.com, where my parents own the Las Vegas Mini Grand Prix out in Las Vegas. That's an amusement center out there. So I'm usually fiddling out there, you know, on my off days. But TaylorBartonRacing.com.
Will we see you out here at Pahrump Valley Speedway soon again?
I'm thinking so, man. I'm having a blast, and everybody is treating me so nice up here. It's awesome. I can't believe it. I'm actually just so thankful and grateful that people are open me with open arms, and I can't ask for a better track to do that. So.
And they do that here. I know you have to get in your American Legend car, so I'll let you go. Thank you so much, Taylor.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Have a great night.
A concert will be held this weekend at Rosemary Clark Middle School. Tickets are half price right now, and there's only a few left. The headliner for this concert is American Idol star Phil Stacey. We spoke to Desiree Collins from Cup of Faith about the event.
On Saturday, we're actually having American Idol Phil Stacey. We're doing a benefit concert for Helping Hands for Jesus. He's going to be at the Rosemary Clark Middle School. Doors open at 4 o'clock.
There's a special going on with the tickets right now, though. It's really time to buy them.
Absolutely. We want to sell out, and we don't have all that many tickets left. I do still have probably 100, 150, but we're doing a buy one, get one free.
Wow.
The ticket price points are $10 for the bleacher seats or $15 for the folding chairs that are going to be set up on the gymnasium floor.
Tell a little bit about Phil Stacey.
Phil Stacey was on American Idol Season 6. He is the music minister for his church in Kansas City, Missouri, and he's been a Christian since he was born. His dad and both of his grandfathers, all three of them actually, were pastors, and he was actually a chaplain in the Navy.
Wow, wonderful. What else? Do we have any other performers performing at this show?
Oh, absolutely. It's going to be a 3-hour event. We're going to start out with local church groups. We have the Children's Choir from the Catholic Church. We have For His Grace from First Southern Baptist. We have Alive from The Way Baptist. And we have 2 young girls, Cheyenne and Tiffany. They go to Shadow Mountain Fellowship. They're going to be performing. And then after all the local groups get done, we're going to have Pastor Hector Rodriguez from Las Vegas. He's also going to perform.
This is going to be a great show. So how can people get tickets?
They can either call the store here. It's 751-0407. They can stop in here, or they can stop into Ace Hardware, the Party Store, Shadow Mountain Feed, or Homestead Cafe.
And what's the time and all the particulars on the show?
Well, the doors open at 4 o'clock. That way people can get in, get seated down, pick their chairs out. There's no reserved seating, so it's a first come, first serve if you want the front row. Then the show is going to start at 5. Also, Phil Stacey is going to have products there. He's going to have T-shirts and CDs and all that kind of stuff, and he's going to be the last performer because he's the headliner. And he's also going to come down after he gets finished singing and meet and greet everyone.
Wonderful. So this is all at Rosemary Clark Middle School this Saturday.
That's correct. This Saturday, May 14th.
And for more information, what's the phone number?
751-0407.
Thanks.
Hope Cancer Center of Nevada has opened 2 facilities this past year. That's good news for patients going through treatment in Las Vegas, which is a treacherous journey to make when you are ill. The patient appreciation dinner was held at the Pahrump Nugget, where we caught up with the husband and wife team.
Correct. We have chemotherapy infusion services. That's the first time that's been offered in Pahrump. And that was all motivated and inspired by one of the patients who used to travel to Las Vegas. We opened in Las Vegas our first cancer center just over a year ago. And one of the patients there, actually our first chemotherapy patient, used to travel from Pahrump. Unfortunately, she's no longer with us, but in her memory, we brought this cancer center to Pahrump. And we're so glad, and with the blessings of the people here, we are here to serve the community. Going through such an illness and battling that daily, that trip can be much longer than it seems each way, especially when you have taken a chemotherapy session lasting 4 to 6 hours, and then making that trip over the pass, that can be a lot.
Tell me about some of the services we have to offer.
We offer chemotherapy services and infusion, essentially. And so he's a medical oncologist, and that's what he does. And he treats all types of cancers.
And we work closely with the hospital. And are you the main doctor there, or do you have other doctors there?
I am the only doctor at this time. We are only here on Mondays, but the facility is standalone. It's fully equipped, state of the art. So as the needs of the community grow, we have made that promise to make it Monday through Friday. We'll be here full time.
And you're still operating the one in Vegas?
Correct.
And what's the hopes in the future for Hope Cancer Center?
I think the hope would be to have it available for the people 7 days a week. And if they don't have to make that trip, that's, I think, a success.
You know, our vision from day one was bringing cancer care closest to home. We literally packed our bags, moved to Vegas, and wanted to fulfill this dream. And, you know, we've been very, very fortunate, and that's the vision, really. This will be the goal, bringing cancer care closest to home, quality cancer care. So,
you know, we're here at a dinner at the Prump Nugget. Tell me what you're hearing from the community.
I think the community is really excited, and today's dinner is mainly in the patients and the community's appreciation, so that we, being new to town, can get to know, and the community can get to know us and carry this mission forward.
And I'm sure they'll welcome you with open arms. You should tell me about the location. How can people get in touch with you?
well, if they go to our website at hccnevada.com, all the information is over there, including our Pahrump office, and our phone number is 1-800
881-4226.
Thank you.
You guys are a wonderful couple. Thanks so much for bringing Hope Cancer Centers to Pahrump.
Pleasure. It's been an honor.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
This past weekend was the 11th annual Pahrump Town Cleanup. Volunteers proudly signed up to pick up trash and make our town shine.
Right now we've got about somewhere between 60 and 100 people that are going around town at various locations, picking up trash, picking up old pieces of furniture and things like that, bringing them here, putting them in a dumpster. We've got dumpsters around, and Damon will tell us where we've got the dumpsters. And we were just saying we've got some folks over there that picked up behind Walmart. Cruisers. Yeah, the Valley Cruisers, and they picked up about 60 bags of trash behind Walmart.
Wonderful. Congratulations to Valley Cruisers. Damon, Pahrump Valley Disposal has a lot of bins around town. Where are they at?
What we did this year is we tried to change it up and move them a little bit more down south, since the landfills. We had one last year at Blag and Mesquite. Well, with it being closed and being so close to landfill, we decided to move some down south, more down south. So we've got some still we have Gamebird and Homestead's been a normal location. Yeah. And we've done that one. We did that one again this year. And then last year we tried Lakeside, right across from Lakeside, where Concordia Homes used to have an office trailer. Yeah. And there's a nice little pad there. And that one was pretty big. So we put 2 boxes there, and already this year that was full already by 6:30 this morning. So, and then we tried one over on right by the PV Boulevard side from Ian Deutsch Park. And then at Basin and Blag we went, right where the road's blocked off. There's a little section right there. So we're trying to hit more, like I said, the southern area for the folks. And then if you're, the ones close to the landfill, you might as well just go to the dump and,
Exactly. George, we have a lot of people who are really enthusiastic about doing this town cleanup. Tell me why.
Okay, part of it has to do with the fact that people wander through the town and they look at the trash and stuff that blows around. And with this wind that we've got here, we get a lot of distribution of trash and stuff that people don't mean for it to be out on the streets and things, but it does happen. People have it sitting in their yards and stuff. And a lot of the people that are working with us say, hey, I'm going to clean up my portion, my section of the road. I'm going to clean up behind my house and things like that. And that's a big part of why we have such enthusiastic people that come out here. They start at 6:30 in the morning. When we came out here at 6:30, there were people out here ready to get out and get after it. And we had good support from a lot of people in the town too.
Well, today the volunteers are out picking up trash, and the Pahrump Valley Disposal has dumpsters placed around the community. And part of my job today is to run around and pick up these big dumpsters and take them up to the landfill, dump them, and return them so the citizens can clean up their yards and stuff. So it's a town cleanup day. We've got volunteers picking up trash on the streets. You'll see the orange bags. After 10 o'clock, we'll have some side loaders going around picking up the orange bags, but pretty much all day I'll be driving a truck picking up the roll-off bins.
Vice President of Communications for United Health Group, who is speaking on behalf of Senior Dimensions and Health Plan of Nevada, spoke to Vern Van Winkle to answer some questions and concerns that have been coming up since the change of coverage with Health Care Partners of Nevada.
So for our Senior Dimensions members in the area, they have continued coverage through the end of the year. They don't need to do anything. If they have questions, they can turn over the card and call us, and we'll help them through with any specific questions. But in addition to the Senior Dimensions program, every year CMS, Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, holds an open enrollment period from October 15th through the end of the year for enrollment period 2012. So right now, seniors don't have to do anything at all if they're with Senior Dimensions. They can stay with their program and their physician, and during the open enrollment period, they can look and see what the benefits are for 2012.
Do you feel canceling coverage because of a business decision is acceptable answer to patients losing their doctors?
Well, in the community here, we're talking about 10 physicians that have made a different business decision and have affiliated with another entity. And we have since expanded and contracted more than 10 new physicians in the community and are looking at how we pace benefits and costs for 2012. So our thinking was to give folks as much time as possible to make a decision if they needed to prior to open enrollment. And again, they don't have to do anything now, but if they'd like to, we're willing to assist them in doing that. So it really is a business decision made by some local physicians that's changed the dynamic to some degree.
All right. Is continuing of care important? If so, why not extend the date as a courtesy to seniors so that they may avoid the gap in coverage?
Absolutely, that's a great question. So continuity of care is established both with federal guidelines with this program and state guidelines. So again, if you call the number on the back of your card, and we'll walk through those with you. But if you're in cancer treatment, for example, or third trimester of pregnancy, or transplant situations, you don't need to worry about this. There will be provisions made. And again, the program, Senior Dimensions, is everything we do is approved and sanctioned by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, and they are very mindful of anybody that might be in a period where they need continued care and access to their physician due to a health situation, and those are protected under the regulations of this program. So it's a good question. If members have a question, they should call in and say, I'm seeing my doctor for the end of the year for cancer treatment, for example, and provisions will be made.
To see an extended version of this interview, you can go to our website at KPVM.TV. And that does it for this edition of News 46's News in Review. This weekend's events include K9's Radiothon to benefit Symphony Animal Foundation's No Kill Animal Shelter, and of course Phil Stacy at Rosemary Clark Middle School. That's a concert we'll see you next Monday. Have a great weekend. I'm Deanna O'Donnell for News 46.